Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Shrunvan Utibhisida Sadanam Sri Mahaganadipataye Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Dear friends, we were reading the 14th shloka of 9th Adhyaya. 14th shloka was Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Drudhavrataha Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate. I read that shloka and then I also explained the shloka in general. The context is about the type of people who worship the Supreme Being. In the last class we saw how the people who cannot understand the Supreme Being, they take Lord Krishna very light. They think that he is a Parichanna Rupa. They cannot see the divine nature. They cannot see that he is the Supreme Being. So that is what we saw. That is Avajananti Mam Mudhaha. All those deluded people, they cannot know that my complete nature. So that is what we saw. Then Mahatmanaha. On the other hand, those people who are not victims of these petty desires, so they have this Daivi Prakriti, and because of that Daivi Prakriti they are able to see that Supreme Brahman. So that is what was the 13th shloka. The 14th shloka again continues in the same vein. It continues, that is the same Mahatmanaha. How do they do that bhajana? Bhajana means let us see what that bhajana also. Bhajana Swarupam. Bhajana Swarupam is being told in this particular shloka. So we read this shloka, Satatam Kirtayantaha Mam. So they are always thinking about me. They are always talking about me. They are always discussing me. That is that Satatam Kirtayantaha. Satatam means always. If you want to do something always, then either there should be a compulsion on you or you should really love to do that, isn't it? Your boss has to make you sit in a room and then keep a bundle of files in front of you and make you force you to do that. Or you should love to do that. So there are only two ways. So here, Satatam Kirtayantaha, there is nobody who is forcing them, but then they are loving, they love it. Why do they love it? For example, a scientist, suppose, a scientist loves his job because every day he is trying to explore, some new thing, he is trying to explore some ideas, he is trying to see what how he can go further from where he stands. So that is his status. Or a mathematician or any type of scientist, let us say. So he loves his job. So only then he can be in that field. So like that, these are the people who know, or who know in the sense that they go to a teacher, they do this Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and in that process they come to love this. Not that there are two types of Kirtanam. One is a totally selfish type of Kirtanam. You go to a temple, or you do some Sahasranama Archana or Laksha Kunkumarchana or something like that, and then the more Archana you do, the more benefit you will get from the Lord. It is a totally selfish type of thing, and then driven by some fear, some element of fear. Unless you do this, some Chitragupta will be there, that Chitragupta will be noting down all your bad deeds in this life. So that is driven by some fear. But then there is another type who really understand the nature, and then who really love to do that, vratam, let us say a vratam. So there are two ways. So Satatam Kirtayantaha, that is, you can visualize two categories, one who are forced to do, one who is forced to do, then one who loves to do. So we are now talking about the people, the Mahatmanaha, whom we refer to, whom we saw in the 13th shloka. We are seeing those Mahatmanaha who love to do this, Satatam Kirtayantaha. And for Kirtayanta, in the last class also I explained that Madhusudana Saraswati and also Shankarananda, they say that it is not simple Kirtanam. It is not some simple bhajana sitting and then doing Hare Rama, etc. That is Vedanta Shastra Dhyayana Rupa Shravanam Vyaparam Vishayi Kurvante. So that is what they say. That is Vedanta Shastra Adhyayana. You do this Adhyayana. Adhyayana means study. You study the Vedanta Shastra, this science of Vedanta. Only then you will come to love this. Otherwise you will not love. Otherwise you are only say driven by fear now and then. Driven by fear, you go to a particular place and then you do some worship, and then you offer some prayers, and then you desire some things. So that is our interaction with our religion, isn't it? But these people, they have gone above that level. Their interaction is not at that level. Their interaction is at a higher level of understanding what is the divine nature. So that is what is the thing. Then such people, satatam kirtayantaha, mam yatantasya. That yatanta also I explained in the last class, where Madhusudana Saraswati quotes one line from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. What is the meaning of yama? This yatanti comes from this yama dhatu. What are those yamas? Yama, niyamasana, pranayama, and those things, they are defined in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Then ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, all those things we discussed in the last class. And where Patanjali also says that it is not some type of one-time affair. It is not an occasional conduct. It is your nature. It has to become your nature at all times, at all places. And that is also for all people. For all people, at all places, at all times. Sarva bhauma vratam. So that is what he said. This is Jati Desha Kala Samaya Anavachinna Sarva bhauma mahavratam. That is Sarva bhauma. That is, it is applicable in all fields. Bhauma. Sarva bhauma means in all fields, in all bhumis. In all bhumis it is applicable. That is why it is called Sarva bhauma. That is that Sarva bhauma vratam. That is, it is applicable. This sort of ahimsa, asteya, satyam and all these things. These are certain things which form part and parcel of a devotee's character. A devotee is not somebody who is simply sitting in a temple and doing some bhajana. He is also practicing all these yama, niyama, asana, etc. So such person, yatantasya, then drudhav vrataha, those who are firm in their vratam. Then namasyantasya mam bhaktya, and then mam bhaktya namasyantaha. So out of sheer devotion, out of sheer love, they offer prayer to me. Nitya yuktaha, and then they are in that shraddha, in that status of shraddha always. Nitya yuktaha. Yukta comes from the word yoga. Yoga means union. Nitya yuktaha, always united with me or united in me. Nitya yuktaha upasate. Upasate is again upasamipe asanam, sitting. That is, they just dwell on me only. So that is the meaning. So let us see this bhashyam. Satatam sarvada Bhagavantam Brahmaswarupam mam Kirtayantaha Yajantascha Indriyopasamhara Shamadamadaya Himsadi Lakshanaihi Dharmaihi Lakshanaihi Dharmaihi Prayatantascha. We'll stop here. Sarvada, Satatam Sarvada. As I said, you can do something always only when you love. Sarvada. Then Bhagavantam, Mam. What is the meaning of Mam? Bhagavantam Brahmaswarupam. So this is the qualification. What is the real meaning of Mam is the real supreme Brahman. Brahmaswarupam. Mam Kirtayantaha. Kirtayantaha means Yajantaha. Yajanta. Then not exactly they are doing some yajna or something like that. That is, here the meaning of that Yajanta is the same as pointed out by Madhusudana Saraswati. That is Vedanta Shastra Adhyayana Rupa Shravana Vyaparam. So that is what is called that Yajnam. Yajantascha. Then not only that, it is also associated with self-purification, other aspects of self-purification. That is Indriyopasamhara. Indriya Upasamhara. There is a technical word called, what is the technical word for this Indriya Upasamhara? It is called Uparati. Uparati is withdrawal of sense organs from all these sense pleasures. So that is it. Gradually, it is a thing which has to gradually take place. Indriya Upasamhara, Shama, Damadayaha. Shama, I said, Antarindriya Nigraha. That is controlling the mind. Dama is Bahyendriya Nigraha, controlling the senses. Then Ahimsa. Ahimsa is non-violence. Then ahimsa adi lakshanaihi dharmai. Ahimsa adi. Adi means etc. etc. So for greater details we have to go to Patanjali Yoga Darshana, and also some elementary texts. There are some Prakarana Granthas of Vedanta. Prakarana Granthas means like Vedanta Sara, Vedanta Paribhasha. There are certain Prakarana Granthaha, and also, for example, Viveka Chudamani. All those things, they give lot many details of what are all these, say, virtues which have to be simultaneously cultivated along with Brahma Vichara. Yoga Vasishtha, it is a sort of encyclopedia. Yoga Vasishtha is an encyclopedia where you find everything. It is an ocean where you find everything. So that is a great text. So all these things, it is not a Prakarana Grantha, it is a very great, it is like an ocean. A Prakarana Grantha is a very small thing which is basically meant to say inform the beginner the overall picture of a Shastra. You take overall picture of, it gives an overall picture of a Shastra in a nutshell. So that is called a Prakarana Grantha. And all Shastras, they do have Prakarana Granthas. For example, Tarka Shastra, there is a book called Tarka Sangraha by Annam Bhatta. Annam Bhatta is a man from our own state, our own Mahbub Nagar. He comes from a place called some Samsthanam in Mahbub Nagar district. So like that, that is a small Grantha. It is called a Prakarana Grantha. So Mimamsa, there is a small book called Artha Sangraha. Artha Sangraha is a very small Prakarana Grantha on Mimamsa Shastra. So like that, all Shastras, they do have some introductory text. It is an introductory text, let us say. It's an introductory text. Okay. So here, say, the Ahimsa de Lashanaihi Dharmaihi Prayatantascha means practicing that Yama Niyama Asana, etc. Then Drudhav Vrataha. Drudham Sthiram Achanchalyam Vratam Yesham. Te Drudhav Vrataha. So this is, they are practicing that Vratam. This Vratam is not very easy to practice, isn't it? We saw in that, what is that Kathopanishad, Churasya Dhara, that is, it is something like walking on a razor's edge. This Vratam, this Brahmacharyam, along with this Shamadama, etc., it is a simultaneous thing which has to go on. Though this is something which is like walking on a razor's edge. Oh, every minute you have to be conscious about your ahimsa, your practice of ahimsa. Every minute you have to be aware of your Satyavak Paripalana. Every minute you should be conscious of Shama, Dhamma, etc. So this is something which is a very, very difficult path. Then Drudham Sthiram Achanchalyam Vratam Yesham. That is, their vrata is something which is unshakable. Achanchalyam. That cannot be shaken. That is something which cannot be shaken. So such people are called Drudhav Vrataha. Their vratam, their say adherence. Vratam actually means adherence to that particular say puja, that particular system, that particular discipline, let us say. That particular discipline is something which is unshakable. Then Namasyantascha Mam Hrudayesham Atmanam Bhaktaha. What does your book say? Bhaktya. Okay, it doesn't matter. Bhaktya means say with devotion. Bhaktaha means the devotees. Both ways the sentence is okay. Atmanam Bhaktaha Nityayukta Santaha Upasante. That makes correct sentence. Bhaktya Nityayukta Santaha Upasante, that also makes a correct sentence. Okay, Bhaktaha Nityayukta Santaha Upasate Sevante. So these people, Bhakti, if your version has to be taken, Bhaktya means with devotion. Nityayukta Santaha, always united in me. Nityayukta Santaha Bhajante Sevante. Upasate again is Upasamipe Asana. There again, Upasana, say our Madhusudana Saraswati writes, Anena Nididhyasanam cha Parama Sadhanam Darshitam, he says. Upasanam means Nididhyasanam. So in this shloka, there are two ways in which you can take. It is an ordinary bhakti leading to some ordinary result, or you have to take, like Shankaracharya points out, that is Mam. When he says Mam means Brahma Swarupam, I, that Supreme Brahman. When you think of that Supreme Brahman is not something which has to be worshipped by means of ordinary bhajana and then with all this, say what is this harmonium and what not. So this harmonium type of God is different. Harmonium level of God is that Saguna Brahma, where you do some bhajana, you take that symbols, you do the dance, and that is the harmonium level of God. Here when Shankaracharya says Brahma Swarupam, we are not talking about that harmonium level of God. We are talking about something on which we have to speculate, on which we have to think, we have to use our brain, we have to use our buddhi, and simultaneously purify ourselves. Simultaneously we have to be in this path of self-purification. So these two things. So that is why we have to take the meaning which is given by Shankaracharya and elaborated by Madhusudana Saraswati and these people. So here the meaning of upasade is nididhyasana. So that is that level. Then let upasate. Okay. Te kena kena prakarena upasate ityuchyate jnaneti. So those people, all those people, Mahatmanaha, all these great people means people who are in the right direction, people who are disciplined, people who have self-discipline plus viveka. They not only have that viveka, that intellectual component is there, plus self-discipline component also is there. So those two components have to be always there. Now mere intellectual component is of no use. Mere self-discipline is of some use, there is no doubt about it. It is of definitely some use. So these two have to be combined. So that is it. Those people, in what manner they do this upasana? Kena kena prakarena upasate. In what manner do they say serve me or think about me or consider me? So that is the meaning. Ityuchyate jnana iti. Let us read this shloka. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena pruthatvena bahudha vishvato mukham. So here he says, some people jnana yajnena cha api anye. If you see the words, jnana yajnena cha api anye, jnana yajnena cha apyanye. Anye means some people, as opposed to what those people we saw, that moghasha, mogha karmanaha, all those people whose efforts are very futile, who make all their futile prayers and futile efforts. So as opposed to those, anye, that is others, what do? Jnana yajnena cha. They do worship me or they do upasana with jnana yajna. What is that jnana yajna? We will see. Jnana yajnena yajantaha. Yajantaha means prayatnam kurvantaha. Yajnam is prayatnam kurvantaha. Mam upasate. They approach me or they reach me or they know me through this jnana yajnena. And in this manner also, again there are levels. There are three levels which we are seeing. Ekatvena. Ekatvena means they see me as one and one only. They see me as one and one only. When they see me as one and one only, then they also include themselves in that me, isn't it? So with that aham brahmasmi feeling, with that notion of aham brahmasmi, they do that upasana. That is that ekatva upasana. When we say that there is only one and nothing else, it does not mean that one is there and I am also there. It does not mean that. When there is only one, obviously I am in that one only. Or what I am, that is that one only, isn't it? So that aham brahmasmi, that with that notion, the person is doing that upasana, that is ekatvena. These people are, we use the word uttamadhikari, madhyamadhikari and mandadhikari, isn't it? Uttamadhikari is a first class student and madhyamadhikari is a second class student and mandadhikari, that is a slightly average person. So he gets just above pass mark. So he is that mandadhikari. So but he is not a failure student, but he is also say an average student, let us say. Average, above average, and again a fellow who gets a distinction. So these three people. So the man who is in that distinction class, he upasate, they upaste is a singular, upasate is plural. He does this upasana with that notion of ekatva. Ekatva is I am that Supreme Brahman. That Supreme Brahman is the only thing which exists. So that is that Ekatva idea. Then Prutatvena. Prutak means separate. Separate means, okay, I worship Indra, you worship Varuna, you worship some Brahma, another man worships Vishnu, Rudra, Shiva, Aditya, so many shapes. So all these things, that is the Saguna level. One is that Nirguna level and the other is Saguna level. And then the third level is Bahudha, in several ways, Vishwatomukham. Vishwatomukham means that which is manifesting in so many ways. So that is still lower than that. In that Saguna also there is a higher level and a lower level. So in that Saguna again there is a lower level where they go to some Nagula Chavati, they go to some snake mound on that Nagula Chavati day and then pour some milk in that. We don't know whether the snake really gets choked there, we do not know, but so many people they go and pour some milk there. And then some other day they go to some other place. So all these things we should not dismiss. All these things we have to always remember one shloka from Gita, that is that fourth Adhyaya. What is that thing? Na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. That is one line which you have to write on your wall and keep. As Vedanta students, we should all write that line. Na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. So that line we have to write. That is, we are not supposed to confuse the people who are doing some karma. Some karma means some right karma. Ajnanam karma sanginam. What is that next line? Buddhi vedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam vidvan yukta samacharan. That is the fourth pada. That third pada is something I am forgetting. So this vidvan, a person who knows, he should be a yukta. He should always be aware of that, what is that higher level. But at the same time, he should not say your Nagula Chavati is bad, your Rishi Panchami is bad, or some other Ratha Saptami is bad. We should not say all that. We should say, okay, all the people, we should also follow that. We should also follow if time permits. But but then anyway, we should not say all this is wrong and all that. Because we see some people, students of Vedanta, or teachers of Vedanta also, sometimes denigrating people who go to temples. We should never do that. Occasion, as far as possible, on all important occasions, we should also go to temple. There is nothing wrong. But our level of worship is different. Our level of worship is that satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha upasate. Your level is at nididhyasana level, whereas his level is that duality mode. So that is what we should always remember. Then Bahudha Vishwatomukham. Vishwatomukham means that which is Vishwataha, means all around. Vishwataha. Vishwam is what? Vishwam is the universe. Vishwataha, in the universe, all over in the universe. Vishwatomukham means, Mukham is the place of expression, isn't it? Mukham, in Sanskrit we have got two meanings. That is, one is face and one is mouth. That Mukham is something which expresses itself, isn't it? When you see a person, you see his face only and not hand or leg or back, isn't it? So, you have a passport, you show your face only. So, Mukham means, that is the point of expression. So, Vishwatomukham is that which is manifest, that which is expressed everywhere. You go to some Vidurashvartha and then you worship that thing as something that is a sacred tree. Or you go to a river and then you take a dip in that and then you think that you invoke all the waters, all the holy waters into that, and then you also remember that particular river has flown from that head of Lord Shiva, and then you say take a dip there. So all these things, that is Vishwatomukha, that divine thing which is manifest in all things. So that is that Vishwatomukha, expressing itself in all ways. Vishwataha. Vishwataha means all over the universe. Vishwatomukham. Bahudha means in many ways. Bahudha Vishwatomukham. That is the thing. That is Ekatvena is for Uttamadhikari, Pruthatvena is for Madhyamadhikari, and then again Vishwatomukham, that Vishwarupa Dhyanam is for a slightly Mandadhikari, a common man who wants to go and then lead a pious life. He goes and then worships here and then puts a namaskaram on some other roadside temple. So all these things. Okay. Then let us see this thing. Jnana yajnena jnanameva bhagavad vishayam yajnaha tena jnana yajnena yajantaha pujayantaha mam ishwaram cha anye.
Mam Ishvarancha Anye.
Anyam upasanam parityajya.
Anyam upasanam parityajya.
Upasate.
Upasate.
Okay, we'll stop here. Jnanameva yajnaha. Jnanameva Bhagavad Vishayam yajnaha. That is Bhagavad Vishayam Jnanameva yajnaha. That is, knowing about the Supreme Brahman itself is yajna. And then this concept is not new to us. We have seen this earlier also several times, not several times, a couple of times in 4th Adhyaya also, Jnana Yajnam. So we have come across this shloka, different types of yajnas, Dravya Yajnaha, Tapo Yajnaha, Jnana Yajnaha, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnasya, Yatayaha Samshito Vrataha. We know all these things. We have come across this earlier a couple of times. So this concept is not new. This is Jnana Yajna. This is Bhagavad Vishayam Jnanameva Yajna. That is, knowing about the real nature of the Supreme Being is itself Yajna. So that is the type of Yajna. Tena Jnana Yajnana. By that Yajna. So that is why we see many Swamijis, there will be some poster somewhere, Gita Jnana Yajna or Bhagavata Yajna. So something like that. Bhagavata Saptaha, Ramayana Saptaha, sometimes they also call it Yajna. Then Bhagavata Yajna, they say. So like that, this is considered to be equal to Yajna. Jnana Yajnena Yajantaha Pujayantaha. That is, they worship me in that manner. Then Anyam Upasanam Parityajya. That is, leaving all other upasanas. Then we are now referring to Anya Upasana means Upasana of lower gods, Upasana of the Saguna deities. We have seen in this 8th Adhyaya, this Saguna Upasana we have seen, 7th and 8th, there is a reference to Saguna Upasana. That Saguna Upasana is of a delimited or a parichinna form of deity whom we visualize in that supreme consciousness, isn't it? That parichinna deity also is a form which we visualize in that supreme consciousness. And then that form, we expect some sort of result from that. We think that, that particular deity is for this particular result. Another particular deity will give me this result. Another particular deity will give me another result. So like that, we visualize in the same Supreme Brahman, we visualize several concepts and forms. So all those things, that they form Upasana. So not that Upasana, but you have to graduate to a higher level of Upasana, that is that Nirguna. Nirguna Brahma, you have to concentrate on that. So that is it. Anyam Upasanam Parityajya. By leaving all other things, Upasate. Upasate means that too they do meditate on me, they do that Nididhyasana on me. Then Tacha Jnanam Ekatvena Ekameva Param Brahma iti Paramartha Darshanena Yajante Upasate. Okay, that is Tacha Jnanam. That what is the nature of that Jnanam? Ekatvena, Ekatva, that is only one. Ekameva Param Brahma. There is only one Supreme Brahman and nothing else. We should always remember, when we say that there is only one Supreme Brahman, it does not mean that there is one Supreme Brahman there and then who is monitoring all of us and all that. Not like that. That Brahman alone exists and then all other things are appearances in that Brahman. All other things, including all of us, are appearances in that thing. And when I realize that I am nothing different from that consciousness, I become one with that Brahma. So this point we have to always remember. Ekameva Brahmeti Paramartha Darshanena. Paramartha means Parama plus Artha. That supreme level, that supreme reality we have to realize. Darshanena Yajante Upasate. They do that Upasana. Yajante, the meaning of Yajante is Upasate. Then Kechit Kechitcha Pruthatvena Aditya Chandradi Bhedena Sayeva Bhagavan Vishnuhu Adityadi Rupena Avasthitaha Ityupasate. So Kechitcha and some others Pruthatvena, they differentiate. Okay, Aditya, Chandra, Adi Bhedena. So some so and so Aditya will give me health. Chandra will give me some other aspect. Then for example, Rudra will protect me from difficulties. Durga will protect me from difficulties. Some goddess Saraswati will give me education. Some Vishnu will give me money. Venkateshwara will give me money. So that these are the bheda. You have created a bheda. All this bheda kalpana is depending on our own mental makeup, isn't it? Man actually projects his own characteristics on the deity and prepares a deity. A human being always, or a society, let us say a society also, what a human being does, you can also project it at the social level. Even a society, whatever is the thinking of that particular society at a particular point of time, they project that particular thinking onto the Supreme God. So suppose a particular society is hating or having a war with another society. So they create a God which will protect this particular people as a chosen race, and then say completely crush the other people, even if they are very, very pious people. So that is, we are projecting our own ideas onto God. So that is what is the problem with all this prothaktva, all this bheda kalpana. Of course, in our Indian situation, we have not done it. We have only differentiated gods depending on various human needs. You need money, you worship one god. You need something, education, you need another god. You are afraid of walking on a lonely road, you worship another god. You think of Lord Hanuman, and then you feel brave because Hanuman will drive away all the demons. So we have very conveniently adopted gods for our own benefit. So anyway, pruthaktveena sayeva bhagavan vishnuhu adityadi rupena avasthitaha ityupasate. So sayeva bhagavan vishnuhu, the same one Lord Vishnu. Vishnu means vyapnoti iti Vishnu. That is that all-pervading, say, supreme reality. That is what is the thing which is existing in all these rupas, whether it is Aditya, whether it is Chandra, whether it is Rudra or anything else. The same Supreme Brahman or Supreme Consciousness is existing in all these things, and with that thing they do that upasana. Upasate, vityadi rupena avasthita iti upasate. Keshit bahudha avasthitah sayeva bhagavan sarvato mukho vishwarupa iti tam vishwarupam sarvato mukham bahudha bahuprakarena upasate. So kechit, some others, bahudha avasthitah sayeva bhagavan. The same Bhagavan is manifest in all these things. Then Sarvato Mukhaha Vishwarupaha. Vishwarupaha means the whole universe is his manifestation only, his Rupam, his appearance only. The whole universe is his appearance only. Vishwarupa. Then Sarvato Mukha. That is, all these things are his manifesting factors only. Mukha, I just explained, Mukha is the place of expression. So Sarvataha, all we see, they are all expressions of his own presence. Sarvato Mukha Vishwarupaha iti tam Vishwarupam Sarvato Mukham and Vishwato Mukham are one and the same. The shloka says Vishwato Mukham. Vishwataha means the whole universe. Sarvataha means the whole thing. There is no difference. Vishwato Mukham and Sarvato Mukham, there is no difference. Even in some mantras also we say, for example, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrusimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrutyum Namamyaham, we say, Narasimha Mantram we say, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvato Mukha. So like that, this Sarvato Mukha word appears in some other mantras also. Sarvato Mukha means you are worshipping a particular deity as the supreme deity. And then you are also seeing that thing in every manifestation, we are accepting it. So that is another level. Sarvato Mukha Vishwarupa iti tam Vishwarupam Sarvato Mukham. Then they do that upasana in different ways. Bahuprakarena. This is not associated with Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. This is not why there is a difference. The first person is thinking in terms of the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. The second person has confined himself to a particular system of worship, let us say. And these people, they have further diluted that thing, and then they have forgotten that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc. And then they are worshipping some small limited, say, divine forms for some small, say, results. So that is the picture. Bahuprakarena upasate. And then in several ways, not in Shravana Manana Nididhyasana level, but Bahuprakarena, in some other ways, in some other systems, they do upasate. Then, Yadi Bahubhih Prakaraihi
यदि बहुभिः प्रकारैः
upasate,
उपासते
Katham Tvameva upasate,
कथं त्वामेव उपासते
Ityataha aha.
इत्यतः आह.
So a doubt can be raised, if so many people are worshipping you in so many forms, evam bahubhi prakarehi upasate. Bahubhi prakarehi means in so many ways. If people are worshipping you in so many ways, how can you say that they are worshipping you only? They may be worshipping different people. How can you say that they are worshipping you only? So this can be a small ashanka or a doubt. Ityata aha. Then ahamiti. So the next, that is what all we see is a manifestation in that Brahman only. So that is what the next shloka is going to say. Aham kraturaham yajnah.
aham kraturaham yajnah.
Swadaham aham aushadham.
स्वदाहमहमौषधम्
Mantroham ahamevajyam.
मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाज्यम्
Aham agniraham hutam.
अहमग्निरहं हुतम्.
So he says, this shloka is basically elaborating what is that Vishwatomukham. Earlier shloka talked about that Vishwatomukham. This particular shloka is elaborating what is that Vishwatomukham. When somebody can ask, when people are worshipping in so many forms, okay, there is one yajna somewhere going on, there is somewhere something else is going on, or all those activities yourself. Yes, all those activities are myself. So that is what the Lord is saying. That is aham kratuhu. All the words here are very, very simple. Aham kratuhu. Kratu and yajna, there is a fine distinction that is drawn here. Kratu is the Shrauta yajna. Shrautam is that which is mentioned in the Shruti, that is in the Veda. Then yajna is something which is mentioned in the Smarta, that is Smartam is yajna. Smartam is in the Smrutis. So for example, Chandi Yagam, some other Yagam, Rudra Yagam, some other Yagam. So they are mentioned in the Smrutis. So there is Kratu is Shrautaha, Agnishtomadi. Then yajna means Smartaha. So that is the small distinction that has been drawn. So here aham kratuhu. Whatever this say Vedic, in that Vedic system, if you are doing some kratu, if you are doing some offering and all that, that also I am. Then aham yajna. If you have come down from that Vedic level and then if you are doing some other thing, some other yajna, I am that also. Aham yajna. Swadha aham. Swadha. You must be knowing that word. In that Pitrupindalu, when you offer those Pitrupindas, Swadha namastarpayami, Swadha namah. Then you say, when you put some what is this, till and water, and then you pour on that, and this food I am offering to you. This food I am offering to you. You chant that mantra. That is the food which is given to the dead, ancestors, the ancestors who are no more. So ancestors anyway, they are already dead and gone. So that is why we call them ancestors. So the food which is offered to the ancestors in a ritualistic manner, that is called the swadha. Swadha. Then swadha aham. Aham aushadham. Aham aushadham. Aushadham, normal sense of aushadham is medicine. It is not exactly medicine. Aushadham, deriving from that original thing. Oshadhi bhyo annam. Oshadhi means all this plant kingdom. Oshadhi bhyo means all these vrihi, yava, etc. All these cereals, all these say food grains, let us say. Aushadham, I am the food which is generally. Swadha is, it is a technical term. It is a food given to the departed people. Then this here, when we say aushadham, this is food which is generally taken by all. Swadha aham aushadham. Then mantraha aham. Mantra, we know, mantra is the chanting, this incantation, not exactly chanting. They say these Vedic mantras, which have been visualized by certain rishis. Mantra is something like a definition of a particular deity. It is a description of a particular deity. In fact, mantra is considered to be a sort of temple for a particular deity. That is where the tattvam, the nature of a particular deity is described. So that is why this mantra is supposed to be very sacred. The meaning of mantra is Mananat trayate iti mantra. Mananat trayate. That is, you are supposed to meditate on that mantra. Then it will protect you. Protect in what way? Because you understand the nature of that deity and you overcome some of your shortcomings, and then you will attain you become that particular deity. The meaning of that thing is, mantra is upasana. In the process of upasana, the bhakta or the devotee becomes that God, becomes the devotee. Becomes the deity. So that is the meaning of whole meaning of upasana. That is aham graho upasana. Aham graha means I am no different from that deity. So that is the type of upasana. Of course, there can be upasana in the dual mode also. So, but then that mantra enables a person to attain that particular God state. That is the meaning. So, mantra. That mantra also, mantraha aham. Ahameva ajyam. That ajyam is the ghee and all these things which you pour in that sacrificial fire. Ajyam. It can refer to all other items also which are given as offerings in that particular fire. Ahameva. This eva is applicable to all other things also. Aham kratuhu, ahameva kratuhu, then aham yajnaha, ahameva yajnaha. This eva karam has to be applied to all other things also. Ahameva ajyam, aham agnihi, aham hutam. That fire which is there, that fire also is myself. Then ahameva hutam. So that hutam means the process of say putting these things into the fire. There is a small process also. It is not as though you take something and then you just dump it there. There are certain mantras which are chanted, recited at the time of putting this thing into the fire. So that process also is myself. So the whole thing is nothing but myself. It is all my manifestation. That is what he says. Then let us see the Bhashyam. Aham kratuhu Shrauta karma bhedaha Ahameva Aham yajnaha smartaha. Okay, Shrauta karma bhedaha. So kratuhu means Shrauta karma bhedaha. Shankaracharya is saying that it is a type of Shrauta karma. Kratu, a type of Shrauta karma. That is, Shrauta means that which is there in the Shruti is a Shrautam. Then ahameva yajnaha smartaha. Yajna means smartaha. Smarta means smruti. It is there in the smruti. Then kincha svadha annam aham pitrubhyo yad diyate tat svadha. Tat svadha. Pitrubhyaha yat diyate. That which is offered to the pitaras. Pitaras means the ancestors. So that is called the svadha. Then tatha aham aushadham sarva pranibhihi yad adyate tad aushadha shabdavachyam vrihi yavadi sadhanam. Vrihi yava. Vrihi means our ordinary paddy, that rice which we eat. Yava is the godhuma. Godhuma is wheat. So all these things, that is Aushadham sarva pranibhihi yat adyate. Adyate means that which is eaten. Adyate, the word ad means to eat. Adyate is that which is eaten. Sarva pranibhihi, by all beings, that which is eaten is that Aushadha Shabda Vachyam. It is called Aushadham. Aushadham because it is coming from these Oshadhis. What are these Oshadhis? This paddy, wheat, etc. They are all these Oshadhis. Annam, if you see the definition of Annam, Adyate Atticha Bhutani. Tasmad Annam Taduchyate. Annam, one we use the word Annam. Annam, the meaning of Annam is Adyate Atticha. It is eaten and it eats you. That is a wonderful definition given for Annam. It is not as though you are digesting that Annam. The Annam also is digesting you. And over a period of time, the Annam also, we digest Annam and Annam also digests us, and over a period of time, all this process comes to an end and the body falls off. So that is the whole process. So because the Annam also is digesting you in a way. So that is the thing. Then Athava Swadheti Sarva Purani Sadharanam Annam. Swadheti is Swadha iti. the word Svadha can also be interpreted to mean that Sarva Prani Sadharanam Annam, that Annam which is taken by all pranis, all beings. So this Svadha, one possibility is you can take it as the food offered to the say ancestors. The other way of interpreting is that ordinary food which is taken by us all. So there is no harm if you take the both meanings. That is what he says. Then Aushadhamiti Vyadhyupashamartham Bheshajam. Even that meaning also can be taken, he says. Aushadhamiti Vyadhi Upashamartham. For in order to control or suppress a vyadhi, in order to control a particular disease, you take some medicine. Even that medicine also, you can take, that meaning also you can take. Then mantraha aham yena pitrubhyaha devatabhyascha havirdiyate. Okay, aham mantraha. This mantra is used, mantras are used in different contexts. And then that thing is pitrubhyaha devatabhyascha havidiyate. That is for the ancestors and also for the gods. On two different occasions, of course, not in the same occasion. For Pitrus, you offer some food. For Devatas also, you offer some food. Of course, this is simultaneously done also in the Shraddha Karma. You also are inviting this Vishwe Devaha. You also invite Pitaras. You also invite Vishwe Devaha. You also give food to Pitaras. You also give food to the Vishwe Devas. So, these two things, that is called the mantra. Mantra is that particular chanting or incantation which is employed at the time of offering so many things to the various, it may be ancestors or gods. Then, ahameva ajyam havischa aham. So, okay, ajyam. Ajyam is that havi. That is that which is put into actually physical say thing which is put into that fire. Then agnihi aham agnihi yasmin huyate sopi agnihi ahameva. That agni or that fire in which all these things are put, that agni also I am. It is my manifestation. I am that agni. Then aham hutam havana karmacha. Hutam, the meaning of hutam is havana karma, the act of putting all these oblations into the fire, that is called hutam. So aham agni aham hutam. So all these things, they are all fit subjects for upasana. The meaning is, when I am manifesting in so many ways, all these things are also fit subjects for that upasana. That is that Vishwatomukha upasana. So we need not have a doubt that when somebody is doing some upasana of a snake mound, we should not think that it is something silly. When somebody is doing upasana of some tree or something like that, we should not think that it is silly. So all these things are fit enough for upasana, from where gradually this person who is doing that upasana will graduate to some higher and higher levels. So that is how we have to see that thing. So next, kincha. Kincha pita iti. Next shloka. Pitahamasya jagataha Mata dhata pitamaha Vedyam pavitram omkaram Omkara Ruksama yajurevacha Omkaraha. That is why that Visarga is not, need not be mentioned. It is not Omkaram but Omkaraha. So, Pita ahamasya jagataha. So, then what is your relation with this Jagat, the Supreme Brahman's relation with Jagat? What is all this relation? I am the father, Pita. Asya jagataha means of this Jagat, I am the father. Mata, I am the mother. Then Dhata. Dhata means one who disburses that karma phalam. We have seen this word dhata earlier. Dhata actually means actually supporter. One who supports, he is the dhata. So here in what way is he supporting? By disbursing this karma phala, putting everybody in his place, seeing that every fellow is getting his due. So that is what is dhata. Dhata. Pitamaha. Pitamaha is father's father, Pitamaha. Matamaha is mother's father, Pitamaha is father's father. Then Vedyam. Vedyam means that which has to be known. With the dhatu. With means to know. Veda is knowledge. Vedyam, that which has to be known. Vedyam. Pavitram. Pavitram means that which is having a purifying nature. Whatever is having a purifying nature is pavitram. The Agni is supposed to be pavitram, fire. Water is supposed to be pavitram. Air is supposed to be pavitram. Earth also is supposed to be pavitram. All these things are for purification. So they are all the pavitram. Then Vonkaraha, I am that Vonkaraha. Ruk, Sama, Yajurevacha. Ruk, Yajus, Sama. Ruk, Yajus, Sama, these are the three Vedas, isn't it? So the mention of Atharva Veda is not there here. So of course in commentary, of course, say it is also mentioned. Ruk, Yajus, Sama. Where is it? In commentary, of course, Shankaracharya has, as he mentioned. Shankaracharya has not mentioned, but some other people they have mentioned that we have to take Atharva Veda also. But it doesn't matter, because at that time, Trayi Veda, these Vedas were considered to be three only originally. Subsequently, this Atharva Veda has been, Atharva Veda also is there, but then somehow it was not considered to be on par with other Vedas. It looks like that. So that is why in several places, Iti Vedas Trayas Trayi says, Rukasriyam, Ruksama Yajushi, Iti Vedas Trayas Trayi. That is what Amarkosha also says. Amarkosha was written sometime in 1st or 2nd century AD. Amarkosha, you know, Amarkosha is a dictionary in verse form in Sanskrit. So there say this Vedas, the Trayi Veda. Then another shloka, for example, Kamandaka Niti Shastra, there is one book, there is a Niti Shastra. In that book also, there is a syllabus which is mentioned for kings. That is Anvikshaki, Trayi, Varta, Dandanitischya, Shashwati. The syllabus for kings is Anvikshaki, logic, Trayi, the three Vedas, Varta, that is commerce, then Dandaniti, that is criminal jurisprudence. So like that, in several places, Trayi, the word Trayi only is mentioned. Gita also in one or two places it mentions Trayi. So maybe at that time, Atharva Veda was not considered on par with all these things. Maybe because Atharva Veda, though Atharva Veda also draws several mantras from the Rigveda and Rigveda only. In fact, Rigveda is the basic Samhita. The same mantras are used in Yajurveda, the same mantras are sung in Samaveda, the same mantras are used with some other applications, special applications, let us say. All these special effects in Atharva Veda. What are these special effects? Suppose the king has to be coronated, let us say. For that coronation, that Abhisheka mantras, they are there, that whole procedure, elaborate procedure about how king has to be coronated. How, say, all these deities like Agni, Indra, Varuna, all these Dikpalakas, all these people, they give part of their power to the king. They enable that king to rule. So, this Purohita who does that coronation, so he is the person who chants those mantras and says, okay, Agni is giving his power to you, Varuna is giving his power to you, so and so Indra is giving his power to you. So all those mantras which are already there in the Rigveda, they are employed for certain specific purposes in Atharva Veda. So that is why Atharva Veda is something like application. So that is maybe that is the reason why it was not taken as a full-fledged Veda in olden days, but subsequently it is taken as the say Vedas Chatvaraha. So by say maybe about 5th century, 6th century, we see that Vedas are considered to be 4. Prior to that, Vedas were considered to be 3. So anyway, Ruksama Yajurevacha. So Vedyam, Pavitram, Onkaraha, Ruk, Sama, Yajurevacha. You must be knowing the difference between this Ruk, Sama and Yaju. Ruk is that original Samhita only in the form of all these mantras which are there in different say Chandas. Chandas means prosody. There is a fixed prosody. Like in English we have got pentameter, tetrameter and all that, iambic pentameter and things like that. There is a fixed prosody for this Chandas. In the Vedic Chandas it has got so many Chandas forms. So that is, they are fixed forms. And then Sama, the same mantras, they are sung. That is a Sama. Then the same mantras associated with some other prose, some prose explanations and all that, that is what is we find in Yajurveda, where there is this, what is this, Gadya, Padya, Gadyatmakam, Yajuhu or some such word is there. That is, it contains these mantras which are there in Padya or poetic form, and then Gadya, that is prose also. This Padyam is there, Gadyam also is there. Mantra, some such expression is there which says the Rik mantras are there, and at the same time explanation also is there. That is that Yajurveda. There, this Yajna portion, the various Yajnas, etc., they are described. Then for very, very mundane purposes, the same mantras are used for coronation, same mantras are used to, say, suppose to vanquish your enemy when you go to war. There are certain particular specific mantras, etc. And when you want some son, when your wife has to give a baby, a male boy, male child, then there are a particular mantras. So this is a special application is that Atharva Veda. So like that, this is the basic difference among the Vedas, broadly, very, very broadly. So Ruksama Yajurevacha. Let's see this Bhashyam. Then Pita Janayita Aham Asya Jagataha. So here in this particular shloka, what we have to wonder is, what exactly is your relationship? You say that you are the Pita, you are the father, you are the mother, you are the mother, you are the protector, you are the grandfather. What exactly are you? Which means everything is that only. Everything is me only. So that is the meaning. So it can be this Pita, it can be interpreted in a different way. Mata, it can be interpreted in a different way. Then some time ago I told about one small say anecdote from Parvati Kalyanam. Parvati Kalyanam is Shiva and Parvati getting married. Say at the time of marriage, you have to give your lineage. You have to give your lineage. Okay, Parvati's father is Himavan. Himavan's father was so and so. That man's father was so and so. For 3 generations, you have to give the lineage. So in the case of Ishvara, the Purohits, they question Ishvara, because according to Shiva Purana, Shiva is something who is supreme reality. So when this man is asked, then what does he say? Well, who is your father? Okay, he says Brahma. Then who is his father? He says Vishnu. Who is his father? I am his father, he says. How can you be father of your grandfather? So that is it, you please take. So that is how that episode is there. So like that, for this Supreme Brahman, when everything else is manifesting in him, in one way, okay, you can take him away as a Pita, because in that Supreme Brahman only that Maya is manifesting. So to that level he is a Pita. Then Pita Hamasya Jagataha, because Maya, if you take that, if you equate it with say Jagat, then Pita Hamasya Jagataha, Mata. If you equate it with Maya, so the Maya is supposed to be, Maya actually is a feminine gender, isn't it? The word Maya, Prakriti also is feminine gender. Brahma is neuter, of course. Maya is feminine gender. So this feminine gender can be considered as Mata only. This is the Mata, which is the cause for all subsequent manifestations, isn't it? So that way it is considered to be the Mata. Then Dhata, of course, Karma Phala Dhata, in the form of that Hiranyagarbha, because it is this Hiranyagarbha, that cosmic intellect, so which is responsible for all this creation, which is responsible for all this dispensing of justice at a transactional level, giving this karma phalam and whatnot, isn't it? So that way it is Dhata. Pitamaha. Pitamaha in what sense? Suppose you think that say there is one Supreme Brahman, and under that Supreme Brahman there is some Hiranyagarbha, and that Hiranyagarbha is again giving say birth to all these Jagat, etc., etc. So you, in that sense, for this Jagat he is a Pitamaha. So it can be explained in different ways, depending on the type of hierarchy you visualize. Depending on the type of hierarchy you want to visualize, you can say this he is a father, he is the mother, he is the grandfather, which means that he is all in all. So that is what we have to see. So we cannot exactly say he is Pita, not like that. Then where are we? Pita Janayita Hamasya Jagataha. Mata Janayitri. Janayitri means the person who gives birth. Then Dhata. Karma Phalasya Pranibhyaha Vidhata. Pranibhyaha means for all the beings. For all the beings, Karma Phalasya Vidhata. The person who disburses this Karma Phalam. So whatever actions are done by these people, there is a Karma Phalam. So this karma phala is that has to be monitored by somebody. There is something like that is exactly what we see in this system of Yama and say Chitragupta and whatnot. This Yama is only another manifestation in this Brahman only, isn't it? This Yama is one particular function which is supposed to see this karma phala, which is supposed to monitor this karma phala. And under that Yama there is one particular system called Chitragupta, and that Chitragupta is nothing but your own conscience, because your own conscience knows what actions you have done. Chitragupta, wonderfully treasured. Chitragupta, the very meaning of Chitragupta is wonderfully treasured, wonderfully preserved. That is another thing, wonderfully treasured or preserved. Chitra means in a wonderful manner. Preserved. Gupta is to preserve, to keep it as a treasure. Chitragupta, who is it who is wonderfully preserving all your secrets? Your own conscience. So your own self is that Chitragupta, which is telling you, which is telling what exactly you have done, what are the rights you have done, what are the wrong things you have done, and all that. So that particular function is also covered under this scheme. So that is why he is called, say, Aham Dhata, Karma Phalasya Dhata. Then Pitamaha Pituh Pita. Then Vedyam Veditavyam. Veditavyam means that which has to be known, because the Supreme Brahman is the thing which has to be known, isn't it? Then Pavitram Pavanam. Omkarasya Ruksama Yajurevacha. So Pavitram, that which which has the capacity to purify. Then Omkaraha, that which is that Omkara. We had is the time over? Omkara is that we had a long discussion about that Omkara. Then Ruksama Yajuhu I just explained. Okay, we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi.